Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review.
Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel here.
Across the streams of hopes and dreams where things are really not. Come along if you can. Come along if you dare.
Have a good one. Cheers, guys.
Side of your mind, but please realize you'll probably be surprised.
Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review of Riverdale on the CW, which was episode 16, season 2, chapter 29, Primary Colors. And yeah, I really like this episode. Probably one of my favorites of the season, personally. But before we get into that, my girlfriend, she of course goes to college, and they just have magazines there, and they decided to start giving it away because some of them are a few months old now. And she got me a weekly copy of Riverdale, from a few months back. I remember seeing these promotional shoots. So pretty cool to have this as a collector and fan of the show. It's pretty nice. Of course, it has some articles about the show in there as well. Of course, stuff we've already seen this season at this point, but still cool nonetheless. Let's see if I can flip to something in here real quick. Yeah, I can't find anything right now, but still, even just the cover is good to have in there. So yeah, it goes along with some of the supernatural, versions I've gotten before. So Primary Colors. I really like this episode. Now I know other people that like this episode probably liked it because Veronica went through the ringer in this one. And I know a lot of people think she deserves that. And in ways, she kind of does. You have Barb from Stranger Things. Ethel, I think her name is on here. Who Veronica had, promised that, her dad would get a job offer, but she's seen that as an empty promise. So when her and Josie are performing, for her run as, class president, she starts passing out flyers, with a bunch of, details about, some of the things she's done with her family and other things like that. And then there's the whole, smoothie thing, of course, at the beginning of the episode. But there was like a lie or two, or not one with enough information. The whole Nick St. Clair thing. Of course, we know that he tried to actually rape Veronica along with Cheryl, and Rocco is actually part of the group that beat the shit out of him. So is that part just left out, I guess, or what? But instead, the flyer just says she's best friends with him. So I guess not a lot of people necessarily know what happened, but still. I know a lot of people seem to dislike Veronica, at least in the Facebook comments, and I get it, but it seems like a lot of people see her too simplistically at this point. Like they think, oh, she's just this manipulative, bitch, using Archie, or, manipulating Betty, or, just manipulating the perception of her in general. But I think she's a much more conflicted character than that. I don't think she's trying to be this malevolent force or something. If you think she is, I think you're kind of missing the character's story here. Because she still wants to be close to her dad, find any good in him. She's also she's also a little afraid, of course. So she feels like she has to, work under them, and yeah, maybe she should have, stood up against what they're doing a little bit more, but it's not like she's loving it, and she's trying to change things around and get Archie out of certain things, and I don't know. I mean, I know she's not perfect, but the way people talk about her, it's like they think she's like this completely, sadistic type of person, who like, would like, in a cheesy way, like smirk like after every conversation or something like that, no matter what it was. But no, she's trying to be a good person. She's trying to better herself, and I think people are kind of missing that. So I really don't think Veronica actually deserved a lot of what happened in this episode. Although there was her not telling, the others about the school thing, what was going to happen at the jail and stuff like that. But again, it was a case of, pressure from both sides that she probably felt. And I don't know. I know I'm not really explaining the right way or defending it well enough to change anyone's minds, but I don't know. I've always been Team Veronica. Much more so than Betty, honestly. We've talked about that before, though, if you've watched my reviews. And either way, I just find Veronica's story and what she has to deal with more interesting. Because Hiram and Hermione and everything like that, they have major implications on the show, whereas Betty's cam girl stuff isn't really that interesting. It's kind of just weird and awkward. And the chick stuff is always just kind of out of place this season, but it's trying to work a little better. I guess we should talk about that next, but something I really liked with Veronica this episode, Reggie, of course, he is running for, president as well. And, she's not doing everything her parents want, by the way, either. She's running for president when they told her to keep her head down, but she's trying to see if she can make people see her differently. That didn't work, because of everything her family's done and such. But, see, she's trying to be different. I don't know. But so Reg was, saying all these things, and I like how it was done in the scene, because they eventually just hear her tuning everything out once he finally strikes that chord with her after saying so much. And yeah, some of them may have been truths, but, kind of missing some details of what the real intentions were. And so Veronica just takes him by the collar and just slugs him really hard. I think she might have actually knocked him out. It was pretty badass. So yeah, I actually cheered at the moment for Ronnie there. So I thought that was pretty good. And yeah, this hair is kind of bugging me right there. But yeah. And as far as the Betty and Chic stuff, it is getting a little bit better. It's still probably my least favorite part of the show right now. Of course, we know that, Chic, we seen that DNA test last week. Apparently, he doesn't have that Blossom DNA in him, not even a little, like Hal. So we know that Hal isn't his father now, which a lot of people had thought before, at least fans. She asks Alice about it. She doesn't disclose it. It's just opening up old wounds, as she said. Especially when she asks if Chic is FP's kid. That's a pretty popular fan theory right now, and I think it might actually be the case, except I'd feel bad for FP having such a weird kid. But it'll kind of drive home that whole FP and Alice thing that people want to have happen, be explored more, because Alice does acknowledge there's a past between them a little bit more in this one, but she denies he's the father. But it would make sense, why Hal would hate him. Even though he probably just doesn't want him around, or stuff like that, because I don't know if he would know that FP's the father. He probably does. But I guess it should make for a alright dynamic, I guess, when it happens. But I really like the FP and Jughead stuff in this episode. It's probably my other favorite part of it, besides the Veronica elements. Jughead, of course, he's openly standing up against Hiram and what's going on at the school. The Southside High being torn down soon. Hiram accelerating those plans. Yeah, I am kind of mixed on Archie, just kind of being a yes man for Hiram. Even Veronica is kind of struggling with some of their decisions a little bit, but Archie's just doing everything now because of their whole blood bond thing. And Fred, meanwhile, he's going for mayor again, but he's going to go against the lodges, not with their help. But yeah, so Jughead gets some of the other servants to literally chain themselves to the school. And of course, FP's there supporting them. And my favorite scene was actually later at night when some of the other guys had left, because they're tired or they need to get food or something, but they're going to come back apparently. But I just like FP staying up there with them, and he bought like a dozen burgers or something from Pops. And it's like FP sitting there listening to him, and he had also told Jughead that Hiram had called him on him to do something as part of his strategy, and FP apparently told him to FP apparently hung up and then went to get the burgers, so that was good. That was a nice moment between the two. They have a really good heart in the show, and I love FP. Skeet Ulrich does a great job. I've just loved his whole arc throughout the show, especially in season 1, and now him as a more regular character in season 2. It's been really good. I'm worried about him being like some kind of death at some point. Just with the nature of the show, I don't know if Fred and FP are both always going to be around. I hope he's not part of like this Hiram Lodge, Jughead, crossfire thing. I don't know. Maybe Hiram will feel like he can more physically deal with FP and get away with it, and then not Jughead. But that's gonna be tough because FP is a pretty smart and pretty tough guy himself. So I think FP could take Hiram, but of course Hiram would probably have it done more indirectly. But I'm worried about him. But they better not kill FP, or else I'm gonna be pissed. And then the Cheryl stuff in this episode is pretty good as well. I'm going to be going to a couple of conventions next month, actually, in a couple weeks. I'm going to C2E2 as well as Heroes and Villains Fan Fest, Walker Stalker Con, Chicago, on the weekend of April 6th through the 8th. And Madeleine Petsch as well as Lily Reinhart are both going to be at Heroes and Villains. Especially excited to meet Madeleine Petsch, of course, Cheryl. She has a YouTube channel as well, and she's just awesome. And Cheryl's definitely one of the most fleshed out characters on the show. And we see her growing increasingly paranoid of what, her uncle, played by the same actor as Clifford, and her mother, of course, Penelope, are actually trying to do. She's starting to feel like they're trying to, have something happen to her grandma sooner, her Nana, and then she's worried that they're going to find a way to try and get her out of the picture as well. Especially when she sees the doorknob turning at night, and then she puts a chair up against the door to stop whoever was going to come in and do what. Of course, they know nothing the next day. So she's afraid to sleep there alone at night now, and so she invites Tony over along with Veronica and the others, but particularly Tony, except her mother wouldn't have fly for just one special girl spending the night, so she had to invite them all. Then they wake up to a crash, and her grandma was pushed down the stairs, but she does survive. But yeah, it's obvious that Cheryl's correct about what's going on, so they end up sending her to this institution. I don't know if it's a similar one to... It's not the same one that Polly went to, I don't think. I could be wrong. But either way, they're going to make her well and get all these awful thoughts out of her head. So I'm really worried about Cheryl here. I don't know if they're going to show more of her time at the institution, or if it's going to be an episode or two and then we see her show up again. But, I think it's almost going to kind of work, to program her a different way mentally. But I think she'll eventually snap out of it too, by the end of the season. But we'll see how it goes. Either way, if you feel really bad for her there. But yeah, overall, this is a really good episode. I think one of the best of the season. I'm giving it... I gave last week's episode, let's see, I think I give it a 9.2, yeah. And this week's episode is quite a bit better, so I'm giving it about a 9.4, 9.5 out of 10. I feel like I do overrate stuff sometimes, but I kind of gotta go with what I put now. But either way, it's at least above a 9, and definitely one of the best episodes in a few weeks, I think. And I've been enjoying Riverdale all season. So yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.